These are my 10 top tips to have a thriving relationship and have a business without killing each other or getting a divorce. So tip number one, and this is probably the most important thing that most people don't do in a relationship, full stop. You need to both be clear on what your success map looks like in life. So you need to both be really clear with your individual life values. Now, I'm not talking about things like kindness and compassion and all those words that get thrown around in values. I'm talking about your real values, the physical, tangible things that drive your behavior in life. For my highest value, mine is teaching, learning, and coaching. Therefore, most of my behaviors and most of my thoughts are around those things. So for my wife, Jess, her highest value is creativity. Therefore, creativity drives her behavior, her thoughts, her actions, and the way she lives life. So when you have your highest values and they come together in a relationship, they both dictate and determine how each other behaves and what each other wants out of the relationship. So I know that if Jess works too much in the business and she's not doing enough creative stuff, she starts to get snappy, frumpy, upset, and I'm exactly the same. If I don't spend enough time researching, studying, I start to shut down, I get more stressed out, I get frustrated, and so I naturally want to go and learn, research, study, or coach people, or help people, or teach. When I do that, I thrive. Now, everyone has these values that drive their behavior. You need to know your partners. The other thing that you need to do with your success map as individuals is you need to know what your mission is in life. What are you trying to achieve? So I'm trying to build a global business that helps people perform better, whereas Jess has a really high value on creativity, and so she wants to pursue a career in creativity, and she's using the business as a stepping stone to help with her career in creative writing and art and some other bits and pieces that she has going on as well. So we can work together on common objectives. I want to build a business so I can keep moving forward in the business. Jess wants to use it as a leverage point where she can move in a different direction eventually because she'll have the money and the financial stability to be able to do that. You've also got other things like expectations. What do you expect from each other? What do you expect in the relationship? What do you expect in the business? You need to be able to communicate this clearly, because if not, these are going to become pain points or breaking points in the relationship. You also need to know your non-negotiables. What are the things that you will not negotiate? So for me personally, I will not negotiate against my mission. I've had plenty of friends, family members and stuff like that in the past where they say, you need to do this, this, and this. If not, and they give an ultimatum. For me, I live my mission, I serve my purpose, and I'm here to live my values. That's why I love doing what I do, because I get to teach people how to have that belief and confidence within themselves to just go for the stuff that they want in life. Sometimes you'll have people around you who give you ultimatums. When you do that, you're just going to create a whole bunch of resentment towards those people who do that, and they're going to have resentments to you if you don't follow through on what they expect you to. So you need to establish your success maps individually first before you start a business. But if you've already got a business and you're working together, then you need to make sure that you spend time getting clear on your success map so you can communicate effectively and you understand each other. That's number one. Number two, communication is key. Now, I know this sounds so simple, but communication with an intimate partner is challenging because you have another individual who filters the world through completely different values and a different mission and vision and purpose in life. Now, if you can't communicate with them in their values, then you're going to get tension and friction in the relationship. This does not help if you've got a business and also if you've got kids. So what you want to do is you want to understand how to communicate within their values. And you want to look for things that are stressing them out, are frustrating them, and know what they do when they are under too much pressure or too much tension. And there's three responses when people are stressed out. There's flight, which is run away and avoid things. There is freeze, shut down, and then the other one is fight. I'm a natural fighter. So when I am pissed off, annoyed, upset, angry, my natural response is to push forward towards something, or to fight something, or to go aggressively towards something. Jess's, on the other hand, is to freeze and to shut down. Now, by knowing that, I know that when she's challenged, she's naturally going to shut down and not communicate effectively. Whereas Jess knows that when I'm stressed out, burnt out, tired, or frustrated, I'm probably going to communicate more verbally, but more in an aggressive tonality. So when she knows that it's not an attack on her, it's just me stressed out, burnt out, tired, and frustrated, so she can help support. I know when she is emotionally shut down, I know that she needs some support, she needs some help, and that's where I can go in and give her that support. So you need to know how both parties respond, and you also need to know how to communicate with them within their values so that they feel like they're being understood. versus you just pressing on what you want out of the relationship or you want out of the person and watching them either flight, fight, or freeze. Number 3 is that you need to define a common mission or a common objective in life. Now that might be to travel the world. It might be to have financial stability. So I sat down with Jess and I said, look, this is the lifestyle that I want. I want to be able to travel the world. I want to be speaking on large stages. I want to build a global organization. These are the things that I want. What do you want? And we both came to an agreement that there was a lot of commonalities in that. And so because of that, now we have a common objective or a common mission that we're working towards. That then allows us to forego all the petty bullshit that most couples get caught up in, that you didn't empty the bin or you didn't unpack the dishwasher, because you keep pulling it back to the big common objective, the big common mission. This is what we're here to do. If the dishwasher doesn't get unpacked today, it doesn't really matter. It's not that big a deal, because the big deal is what we're trying to achieve as a couple. So you want to establish that, write it down, and get absolute clarity on what your future looks like together as a couple and what you're working towards. That will also determine the challenges, the obstacles, and where the stress points are going to be, and you can work through those along the journey. It makes the relationship a lot easier. Number 4, and this one really helped me. The purpose of a relationship is not to be supported all the time. There are times you need support, but there are times you need someone to give you an ass kicking, to give you the harsh truth, to humble you a little bit. So I realized that the purpose of a relationship is growth, because everything in nature grows or it dies. It expands or it contracts. In order to grow and expand optimally as an individual and as two individuals in your relationship, you need someone who both challenges you and supports you, because that's where optimum growth is going to be. And the purpose of that is to make you your most authentic self, because the more authentic you are, the more you learn about yourself in the journey of life. Couples who expect that their partner should support them all the time are absolutely delusional. Or I have friends of mine who they're up to like their 4th marriage and they say, yeah, but it just wasn't the right person. And when we dive deep, they create these fantasies and these delusions about their intimate relationship. Well, they didn't support me all the time. I'm like, well, that's because you keep doing stupid shit all the time. But they expect that someone's going to support them. They're bought into this idea of a fairy tale where this person is always going to be there, always accept them for everything that they do. And that is just unrealistic. The purpose of an intimate relationship is to help you to discover who you really are and to bring out your authentic self. And sometimes when you're elated and you think your shit doesn't stink, you need someone to tell you in a harsh way how it really is. You need someone to come and humble you or kick your feet out from underneath you. That could potentially be your intimate partner. And then at other times when you're getting your ass kicked in life or you're getting challenged, I know in business, when we get attacked or, I've been attacked online or we have, business problems, Jess is always the first person to pick me up and support me and remind me of my own inner greatness. But I also know that sometimes when I do stupid shit, she's the first person to point it out too. That's helping me be more authentic. Number 5, being playful is super important, especially if you're working with your intimate partner or even if you've just got kids. You need to have fun because the opposite of seriousness is fun. And sometimes business and life can just get way too serious. And you forget to have fun. You forget to be playful. I know I do. And sometimes just walking out into our kitchen in the middle of the day when we've both been working flat out since 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, we've been pulling stupid hours. Just having someone that you can walk out into the kitchen, have a quick cuddle, have a little dance around the kitchen, have a bit of fun, have a bit of a laugh at each other. It just makes life more enjoyable. So remember to have fun, especially if you're in a business together. Make it fun and bring that into the workplace as well. I know there are a lot of couples who say, well, we shouldn't bring that into the workplace, it's unprofessional. But I don't think that it is, because your staff also have relationships and they don't want to see you being stiff and rigid and boring all the time. In fact, I had an old staff member of ours who said that I inspired him through his relationship because I would communicate, even when I was frustrated and pissed off, to Jess about things that I was frustrated and pissed off in front of staff. And I would just say how I felt in that moment. And he said it gave him permission to do that in his relationship too, because his natural tendency was just to shut down or pretend that everything was always fine. But his wife knew in the background that that wasn't the case. And so she would worry about him. Whereas he said, my open communication with Jess, even in front of other staff, allowed him to do that in his relationship as well. So you'll be surprised what happens when you're more authentic in your relationship. Number 6 is you want to create clear principles together around your relationship. So those principles might be that, first of all, you don't get up in the morning unless you've had a cuddle, and you don't go to bed at nighttime angry. That's one of our principles. So we always make sure that before we go to bed, no anger, no frustration, no arguing. It's the end of the day, you wipe the slate clean and you get ready to start tomorrow again fresh. And then in the morning you wake up and you have a cuddle, even if you're pissed off, even if you're frustrated, even if there's a lot of stuff going on, still have that cuddle, connect with each other. The other thing is we don't get out of bed angry, we don't get out of bed upset, because it just sets it up in a shitty way. You establish these principles up front so that you know the rules of the game, and you know the rules of your relationship, you know the rules of your life, and then you play by those rules. Now you might forget them, but your partner will be able to help you by reminding you of those principles, and we do it all the time with each other. Number 7, and this one helps a lot. You need to learn how to argue effectively. When I meet couples and they say, we never argue, there's some challenges in that relationship. They're just not aware of it yet. Now, the reason why I say that is because if you're enthusiastic and you're inspired and energized by what you do in life, there is always going to be friction and tension. And so in your intimate relationship, you are going to have times where there is friction and tension and you're going to argue. You need to know the rules of engagement of arguing with each other. So one of the rules that we have as a couple is that you attack the problem, not the person. So you don't say, you're stupid or you're dumb. We don't attack the person, we attack the problem, or we attack the behavior, which is, I don't like when you do this. If you do this, it makes you seem silly. I would recommend not doing that. Now, I probably say it a little bit more heated, but you talk about the problem, not the person. You don't want to destroy their self-worth, their self-respect, their self-confidence, their self-love. Because when you do that, you're going to have another individual in the relationship who has lost a part of themselves. And I think that when you do that, you don't end up with the best version of your partner. You end up with some compromised individual that probably is not the person that you fell in love with. So make sure you support them, you help them, but at the same time, you also want to attack problems and challenges that maybe they're creating in the relationship or in the business. But just make sure you do it in the right way. Attack the problem, attack the behavior, but don't attack the person. Number 8 is you've got to learn how to know when the other person is burnt out, overworked, or stressed. I mentioned this before, that when Jess is overworked, she tends to just shut down, remove herself from the environment. I know that that's when she's starting to burn out and get stressed out, or she'll make these little picky, snarky remarks. Me, on the other hand, when I start getting burnt out, I start getting frustrated, I start becoming a bit more aggressive verbally. That's how I handle my stress. What I notice is that by working through those patterns of behavior with your partner, it makes you feel more supported, and also there are some times where Jess will come to me and we'll just say, look, you need to take the night off. You're overworked, you're burnt out. I can tell you're starting to get a bit more vocally aggressive. And it might just be that I'm a bit more passive aggressive in my communication, but she will pick up on that and just say, look, you need to take the night off. Or she'll come to me and say, is there any way that I can help support you? And I know the exact same thing happens when she starts to get a little bit emotional. There have been times where I will come into the office and I know that she's burnt out, and I will just say to the team, Jess is taking the day off. And then I go to Jess and I say, Jess, you're taking the day off. And she'll say, I'm too busy, I've got too much stuff on. And I'll just tell her, I've already told the team you're taking the day off. It's okay, go and rest. Sometimes she'll get a little bit frustrated and say, well, I got too much stuff on. But I say, look, you just need the rest, right? Because I want the best version of her in the business. I don't want the burnt out, tired, frustrated one that can't communicate. Number 9, I mentioned this before, never go to bed angry. Couples who go to bed angry, eventually the relationship's going to be destroyed. Make sure you reset before you go to bed, because the way you go to bed is going to be the way you wake up. If you go to bed angry, you're probably going to wake up angry. Reset in the bed. You want to reset in that bedroom. You want the bedroom to be a place that your relationship thrives in. You want to make sure you get good sleep and have some good fun in there. You want to make sure that the workbench gets a good workout, which leads me to number 10 in a second. But my point is that you want to have that as a safe space for your relationship. Don't go to bed angry. Don't go to bed bitter. It will destroy your relationship over time if that becomes a habit. And number 10, make time for sexy time. We get a lot of couples who are business owners coming to our events, and I know that their sex life suffers. And it suffers because they probably have kids, or they do have kids. They've got the business, they're looking after staff. There's just so much pressure and so much trying to grab their attention that they forget about their partner. They forget about the person that they love, that they admire, that, makes their life fulfilling. And so if you're not having time where you can actually spend quality time together and enjoy each other's company, then eventually that relationship is going to be ruined. Or even if you're together for 30 or 40 years, you may lose the intimacy, the love, the affection, and the things that make you thrive in life. So make sure you book it in your calendar, at least have time every week where you spend time together. Whether it's sexy time, whether it's date night, whether it's just hanging out with each other, going for a walk. Something that Jess and I do most nights is that we go for a walk. So after the day finishes or after staff knock off, we normally go for a walk together so that we can talk through things, talk about our day, talk about any stresses, pressures, and frustrations. And it just makes a relationship so much more effective than just sitting on all that stuff and letting it gurgle out in non-effective ways. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my 10 top tips. Having a relationship that thrives is tough. Having a business with a relationship in it and making it thrive is even tougher. And then adding Adding a family on top of that as well is even harder. So make sure you prioritize your relationship, because if it thrives, I guarantee you're going to thrive and the business will thrive also. Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.